When we're adding and subtracting decimals, remember, if the denominator is the same, we're good to go. The denominator will stay the same. So in this case, it will stay a 6. And then the numerators, we just add those two together. And if you think of it in a picture form, it's like saying, if these are broken into 6s, I already have one filled in, and now I'm going to be filling in 4 more for a total of 5/6. But the easiest way for us to say it is that we have our denominator stays the same, and then we have 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 1 more is 6. And the same thing is true for subtraction. My denominator stays the 5, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. Now these in this next section are a little bit trickier. 4, you can just figure out the same way we did 1, 2, and 3. But if you look here, they already figured out the numerator for you. Remember, we said the denominator, once it's the same, the denominator stays the same. So D equals 4. Number 6 you can figure out. Same thing here. I know that my denominator is 15. And because I have 2, 4, 6, 8, and I know that's 8, that means all of these D's, they're all going to be the same, and they're all 15 because it tells me here that the denominator is 15. Same thing with number 8, exactly the same thing. I already know that my denominator is 12, so my denominator does not change, so D is going to stay 12. Here, this is a little bit confusing. If I look here, I have to figure out this D first. To figure out that D, I have to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if that D equals 5, all of the D's equal 5. This is a review from yesterday. If we have the same numerator, you're thinking to yourself, I'm getting one piece of something. Would I rather share with 5 people or with 9 people if I want a bigger piece? And of course, we'd rather share with only 5 people. Here, you're assuming the denominator is the same. The denominator doesn't matter. You can say, okay, you know what, to make it easier, I'm going to think of it as 3/10 and 7/10. In this case, this is the number of pieces of something you are getting. It's cut into this many pieces. So it's cut into 10 pieces. You're either going to get 3 pieces or 7 pieces. Of course, you get more if you ate 7 pieces. Same thing for number 12. Make the denominator anything you want. I'm going to make it, let's say, 10 again. I would rather get 10 pieces than 6 pieces. So here, my N, I already know because I know how to count in order. I have 1, 2, 3, 0, 1. Apparently, I don't know how to count in order. Let's try again. 0, 1, 2. So N equals 3. My D is easy to figure out because as I keep going, I get from 5, 6 to 7. So if that D is 7, all of these are 7. So essentially 7/7 is the same thing as 1 whole. And then number 14 you can figure out. Now 15, it's very, very important with fractions that all of our pieces of the fraction are the same size. So this is not, you can't say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. You can say it's 4 parts, but you can't say that somewhere is 1/4. In order to say that, they have to be the same size. So I'm going to cut this apart so that all of this is the same size. So each piece is the same size. So now it says which fraction of the class likes winter or summer best. So I'm just going to count. Here's summer, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I get to winter, 5, 6. So I have a total of 6 out of 8 like winter or summer best. Which fraction likes fall best? Well, that's 1 out of the total 8 slices that like fall best. So now if we look at the circle graph and we have 3 plus 2 equals 1, so 3/4 plus 2 something equals 1. And this is a remarkably difficult problem for being the third lesson. Basically, they're saying this here is 3/4. So we're left here with 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 is D. If that totally confused you, do not worry about it. It will make perfect sense 3 lessons from now. Okay, so now the key here is it's asking you what fraction of the orders each student took. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add up how many orders were taken. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and these two together are 11. So there's a total of 11 times 4, which means there's a total of 44 orders. So I'm going to put my denominator in on all of the answers. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase all of this. And I'm going to say, okay, let's see how much each of them has. So Bill has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 4. He has 20 out of the total 44. Half of 4, which is right here with the star, half of 4 is 2. So I have 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2. So I have 12 plus 2, so I have 14 out of the total 44. Amy has just 1 star, so she only has 4 out of a total of 44. And then Greg has 4 and then a half star, which is 2. So he has a total of 6. Now, for those of you who know how to put it in simplest form, you're more than welcome to do that, but we're just going to leave these as is for now. On the remembering side, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just going to remind you, you need to make sure to line up your decimal points. I'm going to do number 10 because I know some of you are going to forget and you're not going to line it up. And really the 0 doesn't matter that much. And then I just subtract straight down. I'm going to have to borrow. And I'm going to bring my decimal point down and subtract. Just make sure where your decimal points are, they are lined up. So for example, in number 1, it's lined up like this. Number 2, they're lined up like this. Decimal points have to be lined up. If you're doing this with me on YouTube, go ahead and on number 13, just put an X through it. We're not going to do this one together. And go ahead and put an X through 14 also, just because the reason for this one is because it didn't shade in correctly. And then finally, we're going to look at this bar graph, and it's asking us how many students in the class have at least one brother or sister. So if they have 1, that's at least 1. So basically, it's asking us total up our bar graph. So this here is 4, this one is 12, this one is 6, and this one is 2. So to get this answer, you're just going to add those two together, and you're going to label it students. Then how many more students have 1 brother or sister than have 3? So we have to take the 1 from 3 and subtract the 1 that has 1. And then you're going to label that students. Number 17 says the number of students with 2 children is double the number of students with how many children in the family. So it's asking you which of the numbers, when you multiply it by 2, gets you to 12. Well, if I start with the 4, if I take 4 times 2, that does not equal 12. So it can't be that one. If I take, well, we know it's not 12. If I take 6 times 2, does that get me 12? It sure does. So the answer is 3.